Living in a van in a Western country like Australia or North America is nothing like van life in South America. If you have ever wondered what to expect when it comes to safety, access to water, and freedom camping when van lifing around this developing continent, then this video is for you. So let's get started. A major concern that comes to most minds when van lifing around South America is safety and how to avoid being robbed or your vehicle broken into. It is no surprise that South America can be a dangerous place with high levels of poverty, crime, and police corruption. But staying safe comes down to a few basic rules that we always follow. Number 1 is never drive at night and plan ahead so that you know where you will stay. Number 2 is always speak to the locals when camping nearby, as it lets you determine if the area is a safe place to stay for the night, as well as letting the locals know who you are and what you were doing there. Number 3. Never leave your valuables firstly visible or secondly exposed in your van. We have spoken to too many people who have had their laptops and cameras, passports stolen from their locked van as it was easily found. Don't make it easy for any would-be criminal if they were to enter your van. If we leave our van for any reason, we always lock away our valuables in our hidden safe, which is dead bolted to the floor. Thieves also target vehicles in broad daylight in crowded areas, so don't assume it only occurs at night. They are usually in and out in just a few minutes and are known to target overlanders in certain towns. Fortunately though, there is an app that will help you avoid these areas, which I'll go over later. Number 4. If we think the area is dodgy, but we still need to leave the van, for instance, to go shopping, one of us will stay in the van. Alternatively, we'll find a secure paid parking lot for peace of mind. We have also learned that just because there is security guards and cameras in shopping mall car parks, it doesn't necessarily mean it is secure. Number 5. Lock all your doors at night. We have heard of optimistic thieves trying their luck on parked vehicles at night, and the last thing you want to do is be woken up by someone entering your van. And lastly, number 6. Be extra vigilant in the larger cities, as this is where most of the petty crime occurs. Never show your flashy valuables in crowded areas. If we plan to film in larger cities, we won't take our expensive cameras and film on either our phones or the GoPro. By following these guidelines overall, we have always felt safe while traveling South America and have never had any problems with thieves or violence. Getting access to water is one of the most important things when living in a van, and depending on the country, it can be difficult to find drinking water. Much like most Western countries, tap water is mostly portable in Chile and Argentina. Finding it is pretty easy. Most gas stations will have a tap where you can fill up your tanks for free. When you're in the south around Patagonia, drinking water is also abundant in most streams and rivers flowing straight from the mountain glaciers. Moving north through Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia, tap water becomes no longer portable. You have 2 options for drinking water. Firstly, buy portable water. We carry a 20-litre bottle which we can simply swap for a couple of dollars in most stores. The second option is to filter all the water you drink. We also carry a Grail GeoPress which filters out 99.9% of all bacteria and viruses, making almost any water source safe to drink. We mostly use this when we run out of option 1 or when we are away from the van where free portable water is not easily accessible, like in the mountains or even when walking around larger cities. Freedom camping in South America is very accepted, and you will only find some of the very few no camping signs in some of the most famous national parks. You can pull over pretty much anywhere for the night and set up camp without anyone coming to say it's not allowed. There are thousands of beautiful beaches both remote and close to the cities where you can freedom camp. But what does stand out more in South America from Western countries is the vast amount of trash you will find at these beautiful spots. Coming from Australia, we are used to leaving campsites cleaner when we found them. In South America, however, we were shocked by the amount of trash everywhere. Unfortunately, this is a big problem in most South American countries where throwing trash out your window or just leaving it behind is very common practice. Bolivia and Ecuador have the cheapest diesel at around 50 US cents per litre, followed by Colombia at around 60 cents. Peru and Chile have by far the most expensive fuel around at about $1.10 a litre. This can really affect your budget, as the 2 most expensive countries are some of the biggest, meaning you will be spending a lot more on fuel. It's worth noting too that in all these countries, diesel is actually cheaper than petrol, which can make it more economical to travel in a diesel vehicle. Fuel availability and accessing it in Bolivia can however be problematic, as the Bolivian government subsidizes fuel for Bolivians, meaning there is an official local price and a tourist price, which happens to be 3 times more expensive. Most of the time you can agree with a service attendant on a middle ground price where you essentially give them a small commission to sell you cheaper fuel without an official receipt. However, in highly populated cities like La Paz where there are fuel shortages, attendants will straight up refuse to sell you any, meaning you may be forced to buy fuel on the black market, which actually happened to us. You can also buy fuel and everything else in Argentina for half half the official price. This is because Argentina has an official currency and a black market currency called the blue dollar. The blue dollar works by exchanging US bills at places like restaurants or pharmacies for Argentinian pesos for twice the amount you would get out of an ATM. If you ran out of US bills or don't have any, Western Union will also give you a very good rate close to the blue dollar. This means you can save a lot of money in Argentina by exchanging money with the blue dollar rate. Road conditions vary significantly by country. Chile and Argentina have many multi-lane Western-style smooth highways with speed limits of up to 120 kilometers an hour. However, the further you venture off the beaten track, generally the roads turn to dirt, and in many cases these dirt roads are in terrible conditions with washboards and potholes for hundreds of kilometers. The roads in South America's poorest country, Bolivia, are some of the worst. Some major roads are so bad you can do nothing but crawl through to avoid damaging your vehicle in potholes that would swallow your entire tire. Generally speaking though, most highways are pretty good in most countries, and the further you go off the highway, the roads exponentially deteriorate. Without a toilet in our van, we mostly rely on public toilets. These are readily accessible and the cleanest in Chile, with the most reliable being Copec service stations where you can even find on occasion free hot showers. Throughout the rest of South America, you can almost always find toilets in service stations, however the cleanliness can vary widely. On a scale of 10 being your bathroom at home and 1 being a hole in the ground, I would say most are around 3 to 4. Wherever we cannot find a toilet, it is still widely accepted to use an Inca toilet or a bush toilet, taking a shovel into the bush and doing your business. In areas where gas station showers are scarce, hostels will often allow walk-ins to take a hot shower for just a couple of dollars, which can be a godsend in the high altitude, colder climates. As you travel further north though, the climate becomes much warmer and the outdoor solar shower works perfect after an ocean swim. A major difference between Western police and South American police is that many of them are corrupt and often target overlanders, as they are usually more easily intimidated and usually have more money on them than the locals. We have found this more so the case in Bolivia, Peru and Ecuador, where police will pull you over on the highways, find a defect with your vehicle, either valid or not, and then insist you need to pay an exuberant fine, sometimes hundreds of US dollars. But they want to be your amigo and help you get out of this by just paying them a fraction of the fine to them, in cash of course, right then and there. The good news is that we have discovered a trick to avoiding these types of situations. Every time we get pulled over, we record the entire encounter, making sure the officer knows that we are recording them and that his face is in the shot. This immediately changes their persona to not wanting to try anything with you, and they usually let you get on your way after just showing your papers. Crossing borders with your van as a foreigner can be a daunting and confusing task, but ensuring you have the correct paper ready is key. Unlike the smooth process of crossing an EU border or going through airport customs, South American borders can be a confusing and lengthy process. Depending on the location, it can be as short as 30 minutes, but also depending on the popularity of the crossing, you can be waiting in line for hours to pass through immigration, obtain your temporary import permit for your vehicle, and then wait to have your vehicle inspected. Depending on the border, some foods are not permitted to cross the border with you. This is by far the most strict in Chile, where no meat, dairy, or fresh produce is allowed. In some areas of Patagonia, it's necessary to cross between Argentina and Chile often, which means stocking up on food is not an option. We were unaware of the Argentinian rules at first when we entered from Chile, and our fresh produce was confiscated and we were slapped with an official warning. One thing we wish we knew before our journey throughout South America is that mostly all South American countries have different gas bottle fittings, meaning it can be difficult to refill your propane tank. On occasion, a refill plant may have a variety of adapters to fit European, US, and other South American country bottles. However, these can be few and far between, and like us, you could run out of propane for weeks. The best option is to carry a range of adapters for your bottle. The Chilean bottle we carry has an unusual connection, so we carry an adapter, although having an adapter is not a guarantee someone can fill it. Quite often, refill plants will only swap bottles, and they will refuse to refill a foreign bottle. On occasion, we have had no choice but to do a bottle-to-bottle gravity fill from someone willing to help us. Another option is to get an adapter made for filling gas-converted vehicles so that you can fill your gas bottle at service stations that sell LPG for vehicles. We have had varying levels of success with this, mostly by offering a propina or tip to the attendant and trying at night when the station boss is gone. Much like the price of fuel, the price of food greatly varies depending on the country. Chile and Peru supermarket prices are the same as what you would see in Europe or Australia. The cheapest option is to always shop at the local markets where you can buy local produce and seasonal occasional fruit and vegetables. However, generally we always avoid buying any meat from these markets as they don't often follow any food safety guidelines. With much of South America covered by the Andes mountain ranges, you'll be sure to drive on some high elevation roads. The highest road in Europe is 2,700 meters, 1,800 meters in Australia, and over 5,600 meters in South America, which is over double that of Europe and triple that of Australia. The high altitude roads in much of South America can actually cause problems by overlanding in many ways. Firstly, whatever vehicle you have, when driving in the high altitude of the Andes, you will lose significant engine power due to the lack of oxygen. This can sometimes mean higher fuel consumption and a longer journey than anticipated. Secondly, the lack of oxygen of a diesel engine resulting in improper combustion and formation of soot through the exhaust system. This isn't a problem in older vehicles like ours. However, newer vehicles fitted with diesel particulate filters tend to have issues at high altitudes as the soot builds up in the filters and causes engine warnings. Traveling and sleeping at altitude can also be an issue. It is always a good idea to slowly acclimatize yourself to the high altitude to reduce the risk of altitude sickness. Don't do what we did and drive from sea level to 4,500 meters the same day and expect a peaceful night's sleep. Mobile coverage reliability in South America can vary significantly. It's possible to get a prepaid SIM in all South American countries as a tourist, although some countries require you to be a citizen. To get around this, most stores will activate a SIM card in their name. When looking to buy a SIM card, we mainly look at the dollars per gigabyte and the network coverage, as we both work remotely and use quite a bit of data. Usually prepaid data packages aren't huge, around 30 to 40 gigabytes and are around 10 to 15 US dollars. Internet speed is usually pretty fast except for one country, Bolivia, when the internet speed is so painfully slow to the point you cannot load a web page, let alone stream music or join a video call. If we were to do this trip again, we would 100% get a Starlink dish with coverage now available in most South American countries. If this all seems daunting and overwhelming, don't worry, as there is a Travel Bible app that will help you in every aspect of overlanding South America. iOverlander enables its users to submit, amend, and find information primarily about places that are essential for the act of overlanding, like where to find water, mechanics, propane, fuel, and where to stay. You can filter locations for free and paid campsites, restaurants, activities, and relevant warnings like dangerous areas where robberies have occurred, and even locations of corrupt police on the road. Before we drive anywhere new, we always check the relevant warnings for theft or police corruption, so we can either avoid the area altogether or be prepared. We use this app almost exclusively to find our campsites, as marked locations are all places where people have already camped before, with updated comments about safety and available services. We always plan ahead of where we're going to camp to ensure we don't end up driving at night around a new area looking for a place to stay. This app only works by its users submitting locations and writing updated comments, so wherever possible we try to contribute too. If you have any questions about the video, leave a comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you. If you found this video useful, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos like this, and see you next time.